Welcome back then folks to another special projects build in pack number 11. There's only a couple left at this point, and this one really surprised me actually when I announced it in the trailer, because as far as I could tell, no one called out correctly what this car was, and that really surprises me because this is not a fictional car. This is actually a returning vehicle from Gran Turismo's past, but it is a super deep cut in the series. In fact, this is the first time ever replicating a car from the series that I've never actually driven, if I recall correctly, because the Evo IX Tuned Concept by Gran Turismo, as it's called, is actually a special car from Gran Turismo HD Concept, which of course I've never even played. It's the one Gran Turismo game I really wish I could play, but as far as I know it was only ever a digital download, so you can't actually access it, and this car was in the game. In fact, I'll probably flash up a picture of it on screen so that you can see the point of reference. Now, the body kit and the aero isn't quite spot on, but it's pretty close. So for the livery, of course nobody had done this before, at least as far as I could find, so I've done it myself, and I've done it in the same colours as you could get it in GT So I've used all Mitsubishi colours as well, just to keep that level of authenticity. Personally, I like it in that silver anyway. It has almost a similar appearance to the Evo IX touring car, which we ended up having in Gran Turismo anyway, kind of like a semi-road going version, if you will, of that one. So as far as the wide body, of course that is fitted. The aero is fitted, but if you download the livery via the link in the description, you get that fitted anyway, so you don't need to worry about the bodywork. As far as the actual build, I am also using about as close as we can get on specs to that car as well. So as you can see, it's quite a hefty machine. Over 500 horses, 1100 kilos, and in the case of this game, 640 points, or just over. So pretty good combination for an Evo. As far as the parts, I didn't want to go racing for everything, because like I said, it's a tuned concept, but it's not necessarily a full-on race car, so I didn't want to go overboard on everything. So we've got the sports pads, stage 1 weight. I do want to double check on the ultimate section for a second. Yeah, we'll come back to that. But as far as the pads, that is fitted, stage 1 weight, like I said. The sports hards are already on it anyway. As far as the club sports section, we've got the high lift cams, the bored out engine. That's not entirely accurate, I don't think, to the older game, but again, we've got to get the horsepower up to the right level. Stage 2 weight, the power restrictor and the ballast. As far as the semi-racing stuff, the fully customised ECU, the racing crank. I've gone for the high RPM turbo. We've got the sports intercooler fitted. The fully customised manual transmission is what I've gone for, a little bit more of a road car kind of feel. The fully customised diff, semi-racing clutch and flywheel. I have increased the rigidity on this one. Stage 3 weight as well. As far as the racing stuff, we've got the polished ports, the balance tuning, the stroked out engine, the race intercooler. I'll have to double check in just a second which intercooler I've actually got fitted, because I don't recall off the top of my head. So if you jump forward in the video and then you can check which one you need or don't need to buy. We've got the race filter, the race silencer, and then as far as the manifold, that is fitted as well. Likewise with the suspension, of course, the torque vectoring centered diff, and then as far as the extreme stuff, I've got the carbon ceramic brakes, the hydraulic handbrake, the steering angle adapter, and then to jump back to the ultimate section, the titanium rods and pistons, and just for the sake of it, the carbon prop. So, most things fitted, in other words, aside from a couple of racing parts. So like I said, it's not technically a race car, but it's pretty damn close. And I'm pretty sure if you compare it to the specs of the touring car version, which we had in, well, as recently as Gran Turismo 6, it's probably quite close. The numbers might almost be identical. I don't recall off the top of my head. So we've got the sports hards fitted. As far as the suspension, 95mm on the ride height, 4 on anti-roll, 30 and 40 for the dampers, 2.75 on the springs, just a little bit of camber front and back, 1 degree. As far as the toe, it's towed in 0.5 and also in 0.5 on the rear as well. As far as the diff, 1010 on the front, 30 on the rear, with, as I often go for, a 50-50 split. Of course, any of this you can change anyway, but this is just the baseline that I've opted to go with. As far as the transmission, relatively close ratio, because of course it's not a top speed build anyway, so up around, 190-ish miles an hour, or 300 kilometers an hour. You could probably push 200 out of it realistically if you needed to. As far as the ballast, you want to add 23 kilos to bring us up to the GT HD weight of 1130. I've opted to put that all the way to the back. It's still very much a front bias car anyway. As far as the restrictors, the power is untouched. I seem to recall the car in GT HD had, I think it was 542 horsepower, whereas we've got 543, but it's close enough, and I didn't really want to start messing around with fitting stuff and restricting it just for the sake of 1 horsepower. So as far as the downforce, we're actually not going full. 240 on the rear, 125 on the front, so in other words halfway, as you can see. You could fit the anti-lag, I guess. The main reason why I haven't done that, and I could be wrong here, but I would imagine that back in the older game, it probably didn't have anti-lag at the time. So I didn't want it to feel kind of, popping and crackling and being too responsive, almost like too good, compared to how it probably felt back in that older game. For those who maybe did drive the car, and I'm sure there are not many people who did, but if you did, and if it does have anti-lag, then absolutely comment that down below, but I gave it the benefit of the doubt and didn't turn that on, didn't fit it either. And then for all the other stuff, of course, you already saw us fit it, but that's it. So super deep cut vehicle, and naturally what you want to see is how quick is it in practice and what can it do on the track. So the way I would describe this one is it's heavy through corners. It definitely has a heaviness over the front end, and of course you can adjust that with toe and camber and the diff. Certainly having the 50-50 split lends itself to having more of a heavy front end, but again, I didn't want it to feel like a full-on rally car or a race car. I wanted to give it a little bit of a handling handicap, so it's almost not too good, like better than an Evo, certainly quicker than an Evo, but not too OP. So if you want to make it even better, you certainly could, but that's what I've gone for, so give it a try, and if you don't like it, you can always change stuff. As far as how quick it is, this is 2 seconds quicker than the Lamborghini LP640 around Deep Forest, and 2 seconds behind my special projects build for the SLS AMG Stealth version. So at least by my standards, I'd say that's a fair comparison. Couple of seconds quicker than a supercar, couple of seconds slower than a very powerful race car. So to me, I'm pretty happy with that. For a 540 horsepower Evo, which is designed to be more of a concept car, a fictional Gran Turismo pre-tuned kind of vehicle, well, it's certainly quick enough to be useful for events. The point level is fairly high for a car on sports tyres, so I'm not sure how much you'll be able to use it necessarily, but for those who just like really deep-cut unicorn cars from the series, maybe even a car which many of you hadn't even heard of before from Gran Turismo, then that's the name of the game. Kind of like unsung heroes within Gran Turismo, if you will. So if you do decide to use it, I hope, of course, you have fun with it. I've done, like I said, a ton of different paint versions. I think there's something like 5 or 6 different colours, maybe even more. So all of those are linked on my page in Gran Turismo via the link below. So pick out which ones you like, of course, have some fun with it. And like I said, there's only a couple of builds left tomorrow in pack number 11, and of course stick around tomorrow for more. But until next time, I'll see you then, and for now, thanks for watching.